I'm just glad. What's up, Reborn? Welcome to the first episode of Teen Talk. My name is Kaya, and this is Cami, my youth teacher. So, for the first episode, I wanted to talk about friendships, which is something that I personally struggle with, and something that I think a lot of you also struggle with. So, Cami had a question for you on what type of friendships do you think Christian teens should have in today's society?
Well, thank you for having me here, Kaya. I appreciate it. And I think it's important that Christian teens,
Yeah.
or non-Christian teens, should I say, everyone should
Yeah.
have friends that are Christian. I think the having the same beliefs, having the same base beliefs are important. So just like we find friends, like when you're younger or at any point, right? We find
Yeah.
commonality. We find things that um, are alike in,
Yeah.
right? So we should find somebody that, right? We want somebody that's honest and
Yeah.
loyal and all those nice things. We want to be liked and we want to be accepted. So it's important that even though we want those things and we should have those things, that we should have them to be Christian. Christian because of the same beliefs that we have, to have the same convictions. I mean, somebody that's not necessarily a believer or a Christian, to say, wouldn't have the same beliefs, and we probably wouldn't get along very well. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like those things, right? We just like if you like to draw and
Yeah.
I like to draw, that would draw us closer in
Yeah.
probably if we like the same things, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I think it definitely plays a big role in, especially in today's society, you can even be Christian and you can still have different beliefs in that. So what do you think if, like, if they're Christian, you have different beliefs, do you think it'd still work?
It is possible, right? So we
Yeah.
should surround ourselves around like minds, and
Yeah.
if someone didn't play sports, let's say I'm not a sports person. If
Yeah.
I don't necessarily gravitate to somebody who plays sports, someone who doesn't have the same belief system, it's important for us to get to know somebody to understand what exactly their belief systems are.
Yeah.
So, right, so we don't just because they say, well, they're a Christian. Well, we have to
Yeah.
know what I hate to say what type of Christian, but it's
Yeah.
true, I guess, because we have to know what they truly believe in, right? We want to be accepted, but we want to be accepted with the right people. We're supposed to love each other. God tells us to love. In Proverbs 17:17, it says that a friend loves at all times, right?
Yeah.
Um, we know that we can, argue sometimes with each
Yeah.
other, even.
Yeah,
Um,
because no matter how alike you are, you're still everyone still has their own belief system. Like you could have everything the same, but there's always this like little tiny something that you disagree on, even if it's the smallest thing.
sure.
There's always something.
Sure. So when we disagree on something, so because we disagree doesn't mean I'm not friends with you anymore. I
Yeah.
hope, right? We argue with our family, friends, not friends, well, our siblings, right?
Yeah.
You argue with your sibling.
Yes.
I did too. I had 3 siblings, so we argue all the time. Because we argue doesn't mean that I'm done with them, that it's over, we're not siblings anymore, and I hate you, right?
Yeah.
So we should love the way God loves us, and the type of love that God has. It's like, I mean, it's
Unconditional. Yeah.
unconditional, right? We want to say that it's unconditional, but I know myself, it's sometimes we say it's unconditional until you
But
hurt me this
yeah,
far, or something like that. So,
until you say you don't like cats.
right, until you
Yeah.
say you don't like cats, like you love cats, right?
Yeah.
I love animals. I just don't have any. But that's
Yeah.
okay. And that's okay. And we can still be friends. But in today's society, our society today
Is
is
very
broken,
yes.
right? It is
Yeah.
broken. I think anybody could see that. Well, not anybody, because
Yeah.
it's broken, because I think they don't choose to see.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I was younger, because well, I'm just a couple years older than you, right?
Yeah. Only two.
Just a couple years older. So when I was younger, I didn't really have friends. I would always complain that, you know,
I
I
don't
didn't
have
have friends. I
friends.
have no one to play with.
Yeah.
And mainly because my parents were strict. Like I couldn't go play with some friends down the street or anything. I couldn't ride my bike by
Yeah.
myself. But didn't change the fact that I wanted friends. We all want friends, right?
Yeah.
But the friends that I made when I was younger, because eventually I did make some friends.
Yeah.
Eventually I did as I got older. I made friends, but I didn't always choose the right friends
Yeah.
because I wanted to be liked by
Yeah.
somebody, and I wanted them to like me, right?
Yeah.
So the friends I chose were not always the best, but also the friends that I made then are not the same friends that I have now
Yeah.
as an adult.
Yeah.
They say that the friends that we have when we're younger at about age of 25, and I kind of believe that, and I think that's kind of
Yeah.
when it happened for me, that our friends kind of fall away, or who we called friends,
Yeah.
right? They fall away, either because our life choices, things that we choose, we get married, we go to college,
Yeah.
different things like that, and or we mature.
And you're
Like,
just like, I'm not interested in doing the
yeah,
same things
I
that
don't
we
like
used to
cats
whenever we were
anymore, I
younger.
hate you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Or if you just simply like y'all bonded over skateboarding, then you're like, you know what? Now I have a different life now. I can't fit in that anymore. Or maybe
Right.
it's not good for my knees no more. Just something like that.
Absolutely, it's not. Yeah, I have a husband who thinks he can still skateboard, right? He cannot, but he
He
doesn't have
cannot,
those
y'all.
friends necessarily. Yeah, so we get older, life changes, things happen. So the
Yeah.
friends that you have as a young adult or a teen or younger are not necessarily the friends you're going to have for life.
Yeah.
The friends then you start to develop at a later age, 25 or above, are built on different
Things.
things, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't necessarily looking for somebody back then that loved cats, but if we bonded over that, as I got older, I'm like, oh, I don't like cats anymore. Maybe I'll gravitate to someone else.
Yeah.
Only about 5% of high school friends that you have in high school will actually be remaining friends later on
Yeah.
in life. Okay.
Mhm.
So the thing is, you have to choose friends, I think, that are centered in Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to have a commonality, but the commonality doesn't need to be cats.
Yeah.
It needs to be God centered, right?
Yeah. I agree with that.
Okay, so even though we can bond over that, it has to be that. Our belief system comes from someone. It's based off the Bible. For a Christian, it should be. And so in today's society, that's not how people live their lives, right? We were talking
Yeah.
earlier about having priorities,
Yeah,
that
whenever you have your priorities and what's more important to you, is it this or is it church?
right, is it church, and not just church, right? We're
Anything, really.
working, yeah,
Yeah.
we're working in our church for Christ, but because he's called us to do different things. So Christian friendships should also help us navigate through life.
Yeah.
So I mean, I keep bringing up the thing about cats. Yeah, cats are, but they're not quite important to
Yeah.
have us
Just because you
look
like cats, it's
to
not going to
say,
help you decide like your life decisions, like
right,
life altering decisions,
right,
you having a common thing. And I definitely agree with that because if you have something in common of just simply like cats or drawing or even sports, those things can go away. But whenever it's built off Jesus and God, Jesus doesn't go away.
right,
And so it's like it's stronger. It's much stronger whenever you're both truly believers
right.
and y'all are both deep in your faith. I feel like it's definitely a lot different
For
than that.
sure.
Yeah.
Right. We're not when you're younger, I think, like I said, what things are important to you are different than as
Yeah.
you get older, but or as you get older in Christ, as we learn more and as we our walk changes. So then that's where some of the friends will fall off and things
Yeah.
will happen. But the like I said, in today's society, because it's broken, it is even more important now versus maybe back when 2
Yeah.
years ago when I was younger and
Yeah.
making friends.
Back in 2023.
So we have to choose different things now, and we
Yeah.
have to choose and maybe be, what I say, more picky. Some people might say whatever,
Yeah.
um, because the world is broken, because there are things that are going to come at us, right? I feel like I go to church on Sundays, mornings, Sunday evenings,
Yeah.
Wednesday nights. I come in for all the extras, right? We do
Mhm.
feed the multitude, do flyers, and even movie night. We do
Yeah.
our fun things as well at church. But I feel like doing those things, I need it because I need to be around other believers.
Yeah.
Now, are the believers and are your friends going to be perfect?
No.
Absolutely not. They're
Yeah.
not. None of us are, right? We're not going to be. However, just like Paul wrote in First Thessalonians, speaking to them,
Mhm.
he said that actually I had it up here. Well, therefore, wherefore comfort yourself together and edify one another, making each other better, encourage each other. If you have a friend that's just kind of there fly the night and just doing whatever, they're
Yeah.
probably not going to be the one that's going to be encouraging to you, right?
Yeah.
They might be the one to put you down
Or
when
like
you mess up.
the Wednesday night Christians or the Sunday morning Christians. I'm Christian at church, but
All
outside
right.
of yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Someone that just says they're Christian, yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
hesitate to say, right? We say we're Christians, however, um, being Christian is something that somebody else sees in you
Yeah, it's
because of the
not
way
necessarily
we
self,
act,
but yeah.
right? Just like I said, Proverbs spoke of loving, right? God is love. He wants us to love the way He did. I mean, it says that love is not what's the word? Love is an action word, right?
Yeah.
It's
It's
an
not just something that you say, it's something that you do.
right, something
Yeah.
that we do. So I want my friends to show me they love me. So how would they show us? Like we would encourage
Yeah.
each other. We would show up for each other. We would
Yeah.
we would do say all the nice things
Or
and
not only that, just like if you're in a spot where you're in sin or you're not showing up and they put you back in your place being like, hey, why weren't you at church this Sunday?
right,
Or do you really think you should be doing that? I think that
right,
that's also a form of love. Like you're not going to let someone you love do something that's going to harm them.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to, in love, tell our friends or whoever it is
Yeah.
that they're doing wrong, right? And
Mhm.
they're doing wrong, and we know they are because of what the Bible teaches us. The Bible has all of our answers there. So, I mean, yeah, we have to be able to love, but also love hard and to tell
Yeah.
them when they're wrong, right?
Yeah.
We don't just say, "Oh yeah, you're doing great," and everything's perfect, and it's not.
Continue. Yeah.
Right. We would not lead, we would be leading them astray,
Yeah.
just like leading somebody to Christ. If we don't tell others about who Christ is, then we might as well just say we're sending them to hell because we
Yeah.
need to be the ones to tell them. Because if you don't tell them, the omission of not telling them is sending them to hell. So,
Yeah.
same thing with friends. We want them to, we want to have fun. We want to have all the nice things. We want to be encouraged, but we also have to be the ones to tell them that when we're wrong, they're
Yeah.
wrong.
How would you think that it would be different? We're talking about having Christian friends, but what if you're Christian and you have non-Christian friends? How would you think that it would be different?
Well, yeah, it would be different because the friends that you choose, if they're not Christian, if we don't have the same base,
Yeah, if they're
Christian
not a believer.
beliefs, right? If they're
Yeah.
not a believer, well, the things that they may um, show you in their actions, in the
Mhm.
way they speak, maybe,
Yeah.
and not maybe encouraging you or encourage you to do the bad things,
Yeah.
so they would lead us astray. So it would be like in Corinthians 16:14 says, let all your things be done in charity. Let it all
Yeah.
be done in love. Somebody who doesn't understand what that is and how we
Yeah.
said that love is an action word,
Yeah.
they're probably not going to practice that. So it's not going to be easy for them to show that. So then the love is only one sided.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how would you like to be in a relationship, whether it's a marriage relationship or sibling relationship, that you
Yeah.
love them and they don't reciprocate that?
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. It'd be like you're putting in all the effort, but there's no effort on their part. It's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm gonna do this and this and this, and they're like, okay, and that's basically it. They're like not doing anything else. And I definitely agree. It's definitely different whenever they're not Christian because also it's like a case of I've heard a lot of is your friends all get together on a Sunday morning. Or they all
Right.
get together on a Sunday night, right whenever church is. It's not before, it's not after, it's
Mm-hmm.
right whenever church is.
Right.
And it's definitely different because you have to make those hard choices of being like, do I want to go hang out with my friends or do I want to go and be at church? And obviously it should be at church, but
Yeah, we would. So if their convictions are different, they're going to
yeah.
lead us in a different direction.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it comes down to. Is and then being led in a different direction is being led away from God.
Yeah.
We want somebody that's going to help us go towards God, right? If we fall down, which we do,
Mhm.
because we're all sinners and
I fall every other second.
we fall all the time.
Yeah.
But let us fall forward. Let us fall towards Jesus and not the other
Yeah.
way. Okay. Then, so, because if we don't believe in the same things, that's what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
the thing is, with somebody who is not a Christian or a believer, doesn't understand our beliefs.
Yeah.
They're not going to understand that. But like, why do you want to hang out at church? Why do you want to do that?
Yeah,
Or
they're
why
like,
would you
"You're always
prefer to
at
do that?
church." Yeah.
I got it. Or you may decide not to go out on a Saturday night
Yeah, because you got something at church.
because the next morning you know you have to
Yeah.
be at church
Yeah.
because you have a responsibility to, maybe you work in the different things at the church. So if we
Yeah.
have responsibilities that to do, we know that probably not going to hang out till 2 in the morning because I need to get some sleep.
Yeah.
So the thing is, our influence comes from those around us. So if we're going to be hanging around people that are going to lead us away from Christ, that's not a good thing. Instead of towards God, the way it should be.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because I think that that's a lot of people's case because more than likely everyone at least has one non-Christian friend. Whether or not you're Christian, I feel like everyone has someone that's not Christian in their life. And it's like whenever they go hang out or not even them just making events, they could be like, "Oh, well, you think you're better than us because you go to church and oh, you'd say this whenever we're talking about other stuff." And
Hmm.
it's definitely different because you can get into a lot of arguments. You can get into arguments with everyone, but especially whenever they're non-Christian, I feel like a lot of times they feel the conviction of being around someone who is a believer and they feel it. And especially if you're like a true believer and you're like, every time they're talking about something, you're like, "Hey, that's not correct." I feel like it's off the conviction too in the friendship, and you could be like, "Oh, well, we're not that close anymore." But I think it's
Right.
definitely because like it's just the different beliefs and the
Hmm.
different convictions that everyone gets. I would definitely agree with that.
Sure. So in normal circumstances, I think that those that don't have the same beliefs as us probably would just kind of move away
Yeah.
anyway. They would kind of separate from us because, like you said, at some point they will probably get convicted, be
Yeah.
like, you know what,
If
I
if you're
probably should do
like
that too.
if you're like deep in your faith because like you can't be where like I'm Christian at church, but then I'm not with my other friends. If you're consistent all the time, then they are going to pull away. They're going to start being like, "Yeah, don't want to necessarily hang around with you
Mhm.
because you're always telling me what I'm doing is bad, but all you're doing is just simply talking."
Right, exactly. So, like you said, they're being convicted. So that's a good point to say that. Yeah, I mean, they probably weren't going to hang around very often
Yeah.
because, but so in Proverbs 12:26, it does tell us that the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them.
Yeah.
That I'm like, wow. Well, the thing is, yeah, the way, if you're going this direction, they're going this direction, you know, there's always fun and greatness, and
Yeah.
there's a season for all the bad things that we probably shouldn't be doing, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna feel good, it's gonna be nice, and we're gonna have fun in the moment, but it will change, and it's the righteous is gonna be the more excellent. He says we're
Yeah.
gonna prevail. However, we have to be the one to steer in that direction and not
Yeah.
let those that are non-Christian or don't have the same beliefs lead us in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So a true Christian friend too is going to be there through thick and thin.
Yeah.
These other friends are kind of fly by night and maybe not have the same Christian beliefs.
Yeah.
You think they're going to stand up for you when if it needed be?
No, I don't think so. I
Um,
don't think they would. And I also think that it's very big whenever you have a friend that's Christian, non-Christian, because if you go to just simply advice on something, you'd be like, "Hey, which one should I buy?" Or it could be something much bigger than that. It could be like, "Do you think I should marry them? Or do you think I should go to this college?" And whenever it's someone who's Christian, I feel like they're going to steer you more in the way of like, "Yeah, I think you should pray about that. You should get in the word of God. You should do that." But with someone who's non-Christian, they might be like, "Oh, don't marry him. He's ugly," or just something like that. "Don't,
right.
he's short," or
Right. The advice that they give
yeah.
you is going to be completely different from someone who's not versed in the Bible or
Yeah.
not versed in who God truly is. Would God answer the question that way? Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, somebody that's not not a Christian is going to tell you go to the guy who's cuter
Yeah.
or go to the school that parties the best.
Yeah.
So,
Go to the guy who has more money.
right.
Yeah, just something like that.
Yeah. So they're not going to be the ones there for you all the time. Now, um, being a Christian is being a Christian and loving the way God does
Yeah.
is hard work, though,
Oh yeah,
sometimes,
it is.
It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it's all easy and it's all marshmallows and roses. So
Yeah.
if you like marshmallows and roses.
Yeah. Just whatever your favorite thing is, that's what we mean.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know something that came up fairly recently in one of the classes that we had. Brother Ed was talking about John in John 15:13 that we should be ready to lay down our lives for our friends.
Yeah.
I've heard that before, and I'm still trying to wrestle through that because I say, yeah, sure, we would lay down our lives for our
Yeah.
friends, right? And had me thinking, like, who are my friends, right?
Yeah.
Who are my friends? Like, and would I really do that?
Yeah.
That's really hard to say, but I feel like if we are really Christian, that is something that we should be able to do. And myself as 2 years older than you, I'm still thinking about that question itself. It's like, would I be able to? Worldly friends are going to be ready to leave when things get tough.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person. I definitely not,
Mhm.
and I feel like I haven't been, but I don't know that I've been pressed too much.
Yeah.
So having the friends and the friends that you have to have that Christian base and the same beliefs and walk together, that you
Mhm.
help each other. Like I said, we exhort each other and encourage.
Yeah.
I need that. The reason why I come to church to be around other people to help me through my week.
Yeah.
I have a work that is really crazy, and I just need to come and kind of recharge, right? I feel like I
Yeah.
come to church to recharge, to read the Bible, to listen to the lessons that are happening, the lessons that we do in class.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we kind of joke and have fun and stuff, but it's God talking to us in those times to learn more, and our walk changes. So as we get older, the friends that we have and that we choose have to be more picky, I think. And they
Yeah.
should be, because we have grown and we've walked. Our walk is different than
Yeah.
when you're 14, 15, and 50
Older.
something. Older.
And
When we're
older.
older. Yeah.
Young adult.
So, yes. I'll consider myself a young adult. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's definitely like much different considering now I don't have as many friends as I used to. But whenever I had a lot of friends, I didn't necessarily choose the best friends. I chose the friends that were the popular friends. I
Mhm.
chose the friends who had the cliques, and I was like, oh, I want to be friends with them. Not because of I don't think whenever I was younger, I had one Christian friend.
Mhm.
Whenever I went to school, I didn't have any Christian friends there. Now I don't know their beliefs because that was elementary school, but
Mhm.
still, it's kind of like, and it definitely changes you because whenever I first went into school, I can say for myself, I first went to school, you would catch me, I would be praying every time. Even for snack time, I'd always be praying. And
Mhm.
then once I started hanging around more and more people, it was like, oh, they don't do that. So why am I? And then it'd be
Mhm.
like, oh, well, they don't talk about being Christian. So why am I? And it kind of just slowly changes you to be like more like them. The saying where it goes like,
Right.
it's like the five closest friends are how you're gonna act. It's something like that. I don't fully remember. It's something like that. But it's like they definitely have a big influence on you. And I can say from my own personal experience, it changes you, the people who you're around, because you're
Sure.
going to at least not, you may not know it, but you're going to subconsciously change to be more like them. And I feel like it also just depends on your personal walk. Are you strong enough in your personal walk to have friends that are not Christian? Majority of people are not.
Mhm.
There are a handful of people who they are deep in their walk. They are good in their walk with Christ and they are going to not change. But there are some people who they are like 7-day Christians and they will change with the wind. They'll
Mhm.
blow whichever way the wind blows. And so I think it definitely depends on your walk, and it depends on the other people's walks too. I definitely agree
Mhm.
with what you said on that about how, like, whenever you get older, your walk changes. I would not choose any of the same friends I chose. Even I'm not old, but I would choose the same friends I had whenever I was 8 years old.
Right. Right.
Because I realized that my walk is different in Christ and I'm have different priorities
Mhm.
for my friends.
Mhm.
And
Right. And that's the way it should be, and it should
yeah.
change as we continue to get older. We should grow with Christ and grow in your relationships that we make.
Yeah.
So we help each other. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I would just say that, like, it's definitely different whenever you're not Christian. And you're friends with a Christian person, because you're going to have that conviction, as I said earlier. And if you're Christian and you have friends that are also Christian, I feel like you're going to definitely they're going to be encouraging you more and things like that, I would definitely say.
Mhm.
What would you say, though, on if you're a Christian and you have a mix of friends? It's basically the same thing.
Mhm.
Like, yes, there's all mixed. Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say I have mix of friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
Would you
said,
say that it's like, would you say you should only have Christian friends?
I would not say that.
Yeah.
No. So, you hear about some people saying, well, I'm gonna go out drinking at that bar, or maybe I don't drink. I go to the bar and I'm gonna go hang out with all of my friends
Yeah.
because that's where they hang out, and I'm gonna go see who I can help save today. Well, we should not go to where they go.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't mean I can't be friends with them, but I'm definitely not going to be the friend that's hanging out with them at the bar.
Yeah.
I'm not going out to strip clubs or wherever it is they want to
Yeah.
go. There are places that I choose not to go. And my friends now, as an adult, know that I won't go to certain places, and they know I won't allow certain things in my home.
Yeah.
Those are my convictions because of my walk. So my family, an example, um, all drink for the most part,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that they drink and what they may consider excess or whatever. That's not the point. I choose not to drink. My husband chooses not to drink. I choose not to have that in my home.
Yeah.
That's my conviction. So it is my home. I can choose those things,
Yeah.
right? So when my family comes over, they don't have um, any alcohol or anything like that at any parties and whatnot. That's my own conviction. If they wanted to choose to do that, I can't go to their house and make their rules, right?
Yeah.
but
No alcohol
but I
here.
think because everybody knows my walk by now at a certain because I'm of a certain age, um, they respect that and they know, oh, Cammie's not going to go out here with us. They're not
Yeah.
going to, or we can't go to her house and just bring a keg of beer or something.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen because they know who I am and they know my convictions in that regard because they know me, right?
Yeah. They know
So
you.
my friends also, and I say my friend, I only have a handful, truly a handful of friends that
Yeah.
I consider friends, somebody that really knows me
Yeah.
and knows who I am, knows my convictions, and knows that there's some things that we don't agree on,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But there's only a handful of those that I have. But having friends that are non-Christian,
Mhm.
um,
It's definitely, yeah, it's like they know your conviction. So with that closing statement that Cami made,
mhm.
we would like to thank you all for joining us today. And as always, 4 are in and 1 is out. Goodbye.